$300,000 mortgage, you put it into one big thing. We call it a mortgage-backed security. Say it's $50 million worth, okay? That's step one. We got more. We got more to go here.
I'm with you.
You're with me on this.
Let's go.
That's the easy part, okay? Now, you take a bunch of these mortgage-backed securities and you put it into one very big thing. You see, that's a $50 million piece, that's a $50 million piece. The one thing about all these guys here is they're all subprime borrowers. All their credit is bad, or there's something about it that doesn't make it prime, okay?
All of them.
Right. Now watch, interesting thing we're going to do here is, remember, these are subprime credits, right?
Yes.
We're going to make some AAA paper out of this. Well, you just watch. We're going to make some good paper. So now we have this thing here, a $1 billion vehicle here, right?
Okay.
Now's the tricky part, because what we're going to do is we're going to slice it up into 5 different pieces, okay? 5 different pieces. Call them tranches, call them levels, call them what you will. But the key here is they're not divided by Jane's is here and Joe's is here, right? Jane is actually in all 5 pieces here. Why? Because what we're doing here is your BBB minus tranche here, they're going to take the first losses from whoever is in the pool. Somebody stops paying, okay, all the way up to about 8% of the losses these guys are assuming. So what they're saying is, look, you got it, you got losses in your thing, I will absorb those losses and pay you for them. In return, you're going to pay me a relatively high interest rate. All the way up to AAA, where 24% of the losses are below them, okay? So the whole 24% of it has to go bad before they see any losses, and they get, you will see, a relatively low interest rate. Now, what is AAA paper? Right. Here's what we've done. Here's the magic of this as far as the Wall Street's concerned. We have taken subprime paper and created GE quality paper out of this, okay? We have a AAA tranche here, okay? Now, we're going to show how it's blown up here. Here's a little nuclear bomb action there, okay? Here's the issue when it was issued. Your AAA paper had a yield of about 5.3%. Now it's 7.7. Now it's 5.45%. Okay,
so it's risen.
All right, but look at what's happened to the BBB minus paper. 7.75 around there when it was issued, and now it's 30%.
Wow! Tremendous
losses in there and gains for the guys who come in now and hold this paper. What's interesting about this is this thing suggests that there will be 80 or 90% losses in this, and all they've been is like in the 12% range. So some guys are seeing a lot of value in here. Let's look at some of the keys to the blow up here now, Bill.
Okay.
Foreclosures and delinquencies have been on the rise quite a bit. That's deteriorated that BBB tranche right there, and really gone up a little bit into the BBB. If housing worsens, these things get worse from here. The big question here are ratings downgrades. If that AAA paper suddenly becomes seen as B paper or even just single A paper, it's going to affect the entire capital structure. So that's what you do. You take a whole bunch of mortgages, you put them in a pot, and you slice them up by losses, then you sell them out there, and the blow-up part has come because of a lack of belief. Not an actuality, but a lack of belief in the creditworthiness of these subprime borrowers.
There has to be a lot of faith in some of these investments that they make.
As they said in the song, we're in for nasty weather.
Yes.
Thank you. It was very clear.
You got it?
Well done. I got it.
All right.
You promised and you delivered.
Something accomplished.
Once again. Thank you, Steve.
Thanks.
No wonder American dollar's in trouble. You readily can understand from watching these sections on derivatives why inflation is going to go the way it's going, why the dollar is going to collapse. 38 million Americans are on food stamps right now. 38 million Americans. Now, when their food stamps will buy exactly half 12 months from now what they buy today, what's going to happen on the streets of America?
That's right. Well, I think it's going to be more than just soup kitchens. I think it's going to be more than just holding a sign on a stick. It may be that we're going to see some real problems, people getting angry because they are hungry.
But those food stamps buying 50% less 12 months from now than what I was told within 12 months, the dollar will buy 50% less than what it'll buy today. What does that mean 2 years from now it'll be? With this 87-year-old individual said, Chaplain, I mean, this to me, I still think back on his words. He said, Chaplain, I'm too old to care anymore. He said, please tell the people. Warn them what's going to happen. Well, that's what I'm trying to do every way I possibly can. What do the elite have to gain by this? Now, this next section, I'm going to have to admit to you, I got to pull my heart out to you on this, because I've had some people who really know finance to ask me this question. Okay, you're in touch with some of these people. What do they have to gain by what they're doing? A completely collapse of the financial system, 50% more for food, for gasoline, for everyday expenses. So you can't pay the house payment. Let's use something that comes down to home where most everybody lives. You can't make your house payment for 3 months. You've been paying on that house now for 10 years, maybe 20 years. The mortgage is held through a lending institution or a bank.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't make your payment for 3 months and you get that note. Either pay or we're going to repossess. And you have no way of paying it. The dollar is devaluing more by the day. What you make on the job will buy less and less at the grocery store and the hardware store. So you must put more gasoline in the gas pump, which is going to cost more. And so you can't make that house payment for over 3 months.
Everything has gone up.
Now, but
Your paycheck has basically been cut in half.
But you've already paid on that house for 20 to 30 years.
That's right.
Oh, I'm sorry, 10 to 20 years. And the bank comes and says, well, can't make your payment. I guess we have no choice. We'll have to repossess. Do they give you anything back?
No, they don't.
Now, let's consider who those people are. You remember the government bailout during the last 2 to 3 months of the Bush administration. Then Obama came along and he's just giving to the banks, giving to everybody, bailout, basically
Right.
bought General Motors, basically bought Chrysler, and AIG, on and on and on it goes, government takeover, and now all of those people who work for those businesses are employees of the federal government, whether they want to admit it or not. So, who bails out the banks that have gotten into so much trouble? Every one of them have been bailed out to a certain extent. Who bailed them out? Well, the taxpayer did through the Treasury, but it was done by way of the Federal Reserve. Oh my goodness.
What you are really saying, this is not about just taking over America.
No.
This is a global takeover.
Global.
This is not an American confiscation of our nation. They are taking over the world with this. That's where they're really heading.
Yes.
Okay, so they take over not only our factories, our homes, our property, and so they own it all.
But what do they pay for it?
Pennies on a dollar.
That house. You've been paying on it for 10 years or 20 years, and they have a right to repossess it if you miss your payment for 3 months? What do they get the house for?
Pennies on a dollar.
You've already paid them thousands of dollars.
Actually, they almost get the house free and clear.
Free and clear. Plus you've paid them for 10 years or 20 years or 6 months or a year or 5 years. However long you may have had that mortgage. You have given them your hard-earned money, but now that you can't make your payment because they have created the crisis monetarily in America and the world.
Out of thin air.
Out of thin air with derivatives and all of these other instruments that they've used to create this crisis. Right. Now they turn around and take your house back because you cannot make the payment because of the crisis they have created. What do they have to gain by creating the crisis? They have everything to gain.
And will get it all.
What did they get, General
And they paid for it with PFA, money plucked from air.
Paper. Computer entries is all they paid for it.
Mm-hmm.
And what
I can see it. And I think our viewers can see it. They can see, yes. This is a global takeover. You know, I mean, I'm a pretty smart guy. I understand this stuff, but I see it at a new level here.
But they have everything to gain by this.
Oh, yes.
They're losing nothing by the destruction of the financial system of the world today. They have everything to gain. And when the smoke clears, they're going to own General Motors. They're going to own Chrysler. They'll hold all the banks. They will control most every big industry. They'll own most of the mom and pop businesses. They'll probably hold 75 to 80% of all the real estate in the United States.